Natalie comes in with the breadcrumbs and gets all the credit.
With the special little magic. You don't have to work so hard. You can just do a little.
It's just about
Some
like
people don't have to work that hard.
Nice.
Mostly before that.
What I remember is being at the house and you two had just driven in and walking into the session, and like I remember both of you sort of saying like, we have no idea what we're going to do even after we'd had so many phone calls and talks about songs and vision and everything. What was happening in that van on the way to the session? Were you talking about the session? Were you like avoiding talking about the session? Can you
We were
recall?
probably wondering if we would have enough food. We're like, just wanted to feed everyone, make sure that there was enough food to go around.
I love how in the country I feel like there's like 2-week cycles of insects. Like this type of insect just thrives.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
I remember on day one writing the names of the songs we wanted to do on sticky notes and putting them on the wall, and that felt like the first, like, we're making these songs real and this is the project.
Yeah, it's funny having more songs than you need. We had a stockpile, but I find songs ripen really quickly within this project. There were quite a few songs that we were sure that we wanted to record these, but when it came time to record, we had kind of lost interest in those songs. And then there were some new songs that kind of got tacked on.
The real fresh ones with juice and...
Like That's the Gods Talking sounded completely different in its demo form.
Right.
And we had never touched that up until that session. And then
The whole session felt like summer camp to me in that way, because it was just such a fun pleasure of making music. We had one goal, was just to like record these songs
Don't kid.
and do whatever we wanted with them. So like That's the Gods Talking was able to take a whole new direction.
I feel like we talked a lot about vision for things and like ideas about production and sound and the songs. But yeah, like when you two came in, there really was an element of like, we have these songs, but we don't actually know what we're gonna do when we hit record. And I find you two are very good at, like you're saying, like making on the fly. Like you haven't gone through everything with a fine-tooth comb. You have this like exciting spark, and you two sit down to it and make something.
Cool. Rad. Did I do it? I think so.
I loved sitting down watching the two of you play a song together. We would track often two things at once, and then the next two things would come and we'd sit down and there would be you two again and instantly have sort of these like 4 layers. But that next two, it's true that they just kind of sparked out of what we had just done. Not some idea that we'd brought in from before, but it was like, okay, we'd just done this. What am I hearing right now?
Okay.
I'm so glad this happened. I remember at the end of the session we made a Saskatoon pie and espresso and invited our friends to come and listen to what we had got.
That was really magic. Like having
Inviting people in.
sat so deeply with the minutia of the record and making mixing decisions like that, the way you have to do on tape, making those commitments and being just deep listening to elements, and then inviting people in and having that shared listening experience. It was, the record had never sounded like it did.
Yeah,
And
I would say like commitment was sort of a theme throughout the process. Working with tape and having not really done like a lot of preparation, we had to commit to the ideas that were coming. And then, to get together with some friends and listen to it afterwards, it was like we committed to like, oh, this is done now. It was very easy to just be like, we're not adding anything else. And also, like recording to tape and not having the option to necessarily go back to a previous take.
version.
Like whatever the last
Performance.
take you did, you're deciding whether or not you can do it any better than that.
Into a small square inside an hour of floating in and out of a prayer, midway through a secret whispered into your ear, where
I have a beautiful memory of us braising a pork shoulder, and Eric doing the sort of screeching, trying to get the right feedback out of that giant amp in the hallway for That's the Gods Talking. Just sort of like
Shaking the house.
And like
I was so scared.
You're opening and closing the oven door, and it's like a very squeaky oven door. But you're like, this doesn't matter, right now. Like,
yeah, we were just full on talking in the kitchen, and
I'm like 5 feet away.
yeah, it felt really. It was really incredible how we like lived in that record. Like there was bedrooms and kitchens and the living room space where we all had sort of like would come out of the small recording space just for a breather into the living room space. And it's like getting out of the car into a hotel room when you're on tour, you know, like you're all together in this tiny space relating to each other so intensely, and you need a break and you go to this space that's like 10% bigger and then cool off and rehash things and have these beautiful conversations. But it was like living in it. We were just lying around on couches and making food for each other, and someone was doing a take and there was a meal being made by whoever wasn't working, and it kept the thing just flowing like that. We didn't have to ever take a break. Like we could start in the morning, and the breaks were built into the record itself. Like we just lived in that record from start to finish, you know.